All right, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I remain your girl Sim Babujato, or Simja as you choose to call me, or Exclusive as you choose to call me, whichever suits with you well. That's fine by me. So today the topic I'm going to be dissecting is wholeness. Wholeness. Usually I'll do this on a live session. Okay, I remember I started this last year, but I didn't continue. So it's one thing to be consistent, and I pledge to be consistent this time around. Yeah, for the benefit of those that their lives are going to be transformed as a result of this YouTube channel. Now, when you talk about wholeness, what do you understand by wholeness? What does the word whole mean to you? Now, I simply believe that if you have an apple, a fruit, now if you say that apple is whole, it simply means that no one has bitten into it. Okay? It means that no part of it has actually been broken, no part of it has been damaged. So if something is whole, it means that it is not damaged and it is not broken. Now, um, when you say something is broken, it means that something it's now in pieces. Okay, something is in pieces. That's when you say something is broken or damaged, meaning something is missing. Yes, because damage means something is actually missing. So that thing is no longer complete, is no longer whole. Now, why am I talking about wholeness? It's because as humans, for you to function effectively, you have to get to the place where you become whole. What do I mean by that? Very simple. For a human being to be whole, it simply means that your body, your spirit, your soul, okay, are aligned together for the benefit of good. They are positioned together, they are healthy. That's what it means. Now, let's talk about the body. What is the body? Of course, the body is your frame, the physical being, your bones, your skin, your flesh, your organs, everything makes up the body. Now, if we talk about the spirit is the immortal aspect of human being, meaning the same way you see yourself, the spirit is also in a form of you that you cannot touch. And I assure you, we're going to go into one of the episodes that we'll be talking about. We'll dissect about the body, the spirit, and the soul. Now, when we talk about the soul, where the mind is, that is where you get to think, to imagine. That is where ideas come in. That is what the mind is about. So now these three parts, these three elements, okay, these three elements of you have to be in alignment for you to say, I am whole. Now, wholeness brings about peace. Wholeness brings about peace. Now, what are those steps that you can take to being whole? What are those steps that you can take to being whole? Number one, you have to spend quality time by yourself. Yes, you heard me right. I know someone is listening to me and wondering, how do I spend quality time by myself? How is it possible? Won't I look like a mad person if I spend quality time by myself? No. You must learn to be alone. You must learn to have fun alone. You must learn to appreciate your time alone. You must learn to be able to go out alone. You must be able to have fun alone. You must be able to do things whereby you're alone and you enjoy doing those things. Now, what that means is that you are actually independent of other people. You now understand and you are in love with yourself. When you're able to spend quality time by yourself, when you're able to say, you know what, today I'm just going to sit down, I'm just going to eat, I'm just going to, whatever you like doing, I'm just going to sit down. Like me, I love to dance, so I'm going to be using myself mostly as an example. I love to dance. Now, I have times that I just put on the music, I dress up so nicely, right in the house, right in my sitting room, alone. I face the mirror, put on the music, I put on my makeup, put on a nice dress. You will think as if I'm going out. Yes, just the same way I will dress if I was going out, I'll dress that way and I'll enjoy myself. I'll dance, enjoy myself. You will think maybe probably somebody's going to give me an award. And you know the beauty of it. Those things that I cannot do outside, those dance that I cannot do outside because I'm thinking, oh, somebody's going to judge me, or somebody's going to look at me in an inappropriate manner. I get to do it. I get to laugh on my own. I get to do certain things. You see, I get to do certain things that's funny. I just laugh on my own. I get to make certain meals and I'm like, okay, today you're just going to spoil yourself. Or, you get to buy food from out, something special. You sit down, you eat it. Or, you get to do your movie time. Or, today is going to be a special day. I'm just going to watch movie. Spending quality time with yourself is very important. You must learn to appreciate your own time with your own self. It's not only when you're with friends or with family that it's quality time. No, you must learn to spend quality time with yourself. Okay. Now this is just going to be the first episode of Wholeness. When I get questions, of course, any question I get is going to become a topic eventually, or is going to be addressed in subsequent episodes. Okay. Now, probably you want us to dissect more into spending quality time with yourself. Of course, if you want that, we'll be able to dissect that eventually. Now, what's the second thing you have to do? Now, you have to make sure that there's a balance between self love and self-criticism. Okay, let me put it this way. Make sure there's a balance between self-esteem and self-criticism. I'll explain to you what I mean. Most times we misunderstand the difference between we mistake self-indulgence, okay, as self-love. What does that mean? It's okay, we are all humans. We are born to make mistakes. We are born to do things that are not right. We are born to do all of those things, okay? Even things that we never saw ourselves doing. I'm a typical example of that. I've done things that, in my life, if anybody had told me that I would do them, I'll say it's a lie. But let me tell you why you need to balance self-criticism with self-indulgence. Now, this is a place where you criticize yourself for the things that you have done. This is a place where you you set standards, morals, and values for yourself. And you sit down and evaluate yourself. A place where you say, okay, I've done this, but I'm not supposed to have done it. I have done this, but I could have done better. Now, when you're criticizing yourself, it must be done from a place of compassion. Yeah. You correct yourself with love. Most times, right, when we offend people, what we linger on, what kills us the most is the fact that we don't even forgive ourselves. What we are looking for is the forgiveness of other people. Sometimes when we have done things that we are not supposed to do or we never saw ourselves doing, what kills us the most is the fact that we never get to forgive ourselves. Yes. So you offend a friend, and the person is very upset at you. Every day you're asking for the friend's forgiveness, and every day you're beating yourself up. Let me tell you the truth. Wholeness comes from a place where you learn to forgive yourself. In everything, the most important thing is when you learn to forgive yourself. Oh, I did this that I was not supposed to do. And I agree that I was not supposed to do this particular thing. The first thing is that you must forgive yourself. Because for you to get to a place where you realize that you were not supposed to do this, it means that you have actually criticized yourself. But then again, you need to apply love to your own self. For it to come from a place of compassion, you tell yourself, you know what? The deed has been done. What's the next step? I forgive myself for doing this. How do I become better at doing it? So let me give you a typical example. Let's say, for instance, now, I go out with my friends and, probably, let's say, maybe I get drunk and then I snap at them, or maybe have a very heated argument, or maybe I shout, I snap at them literally, or have a heated argument with any of my friend, or maybe with a number of them. Now, the first approach will be, Sim, you've done this. Yeah, you've actually done it. What you did. The first thing is for me to acknowledge that what I did is wrong. Because, number one, I should respect my friends. Number one, I should respect my friends. Number two, getting drunk is actually not nice. It doesn't look good on me. It doesn't look good on anybody. So now these are the things I'm going to address. The first thing will be to forgive myself. I've identified those things that I've done that is wrong. Now the first thing will be to forgive myself. You know what? Sim, you've done it already. There's no how you can change you can take back the hands of time. It is not possible. But what can you do? The next thing will be, you know what? Sim, I forgive myself. How do I forgive myself? I'll try and make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, am I saying that it might not happen again? There's no 100% guarantee. But the first thing is to forgive myself, because if you forgive yourself, then eventually I'll be able to say, you know what? If I forgive myself, it will not be heavy on me to call my friends and say, oh, I'm really sorry for what I've done. I wasn't supposed to talk to you in that manner, or I wasn't supposed to do this to you. I really apologize for saying this or using such words on you. Okay? So that's me forgiving myself. And you find out that when you forgive yourself, it will be easier for other people to forgive you. Because you know what? If you forgive yourself of something, if I offend somebody today, a friend today, and I get to forgive myself about it, and I make a decision that, you know what, I'm going to be very intentional not to repeat such. Guess what? If I ask for the person's forgiveness, of course, you cannot force people when to forgive you. You cannot tell them their timing when to forgive you. But you know what? Because I've forgiven myself, I'll have a clean mind and a clean spirit, because I have the intentions of not repeating that again. So now it's left for the person to forgive me. Most times we go around carrying burdens because we do not even forgive our own selves. And the reason why I am emphasizing so much about forgiving yourselves is because we've all made mistakes. We've all done things that we are not proud of. Well, if you haven't, maybe someday you're going to. It's not a swear, but I'm telling you, that's the truth. You will eventually get to make a mistake, because nobody lives a perfect life. It might be maybe a decision you made or a choice you made. You make a mistake. How do you handle that? How do you handle that? The first thing, the first and foremost, is always to forgive yourself. Very, very important. Very important. While you go out there looking for people's forgiveness, have you forgiven yourself of those things that you have done? Have you forgiven yourself of those choices, those decisions you made that has brought you to a place where you are? Have you forgiven yourself of certain choices that you made that cost you something in your life? You must forgive yourself, I assure you. Otherwise, you will not be able to move forward. Until you forgive yourself, you will not be able to move forward. So forgiving yourself is very, very paramount, okay? So that is it. Balancing self-esteem with self-criticism. Don't say, oh, I did it. Oh, it's part of me. Oh, there's nothing I can do. Oh, that's just who I am. No, that's not just who you are. None of us is just who we are. We are a product of our DNAs and most especially our environment. Scientifically, it has been proven. Scientifically, it has been proven. You can be given birth to by a mother that is so slow to anger, very patient with people. But guess what? If the environment where you grow up, for instance, you were giving birth to your mom, who happens to be a very patient person, a very slow to speak person, and then eventually maybe you grew up with your aunt, someone that stays maybe around people that are always angry, people that are always shouting, people that are always ranting, people that are always insulting. There's every tendency that you're actually going to behave like that. It's either you become the opposite of what they are doing. It's either you become extremely calm or you become extremely aggressive. So majority of the times we are product of our environment. the things we see create our reality. It creates you know, as a human being, see, everything you are today is because of the things you saw growing. And where you are right now is because of the things that have changed about you is because you identified those things that you do not like about yourself. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to work with this. I'm going to work on this. Now, how did you get to where you are? How did you become who you are? It's very simple, because the human mind is like, you know how you have a computer where, for instance, you're looking for your files. Let me not go far. You have your phone. You're looking for your pictures. You know the first place to go to? Gallery. You're looking for your documents. You know the first place to go to. It's the same way that as a human being, when you're talking about relationship, you have a programming, like a file cabinet, where you go to. Oh, relationship, this is where I go to. Oh, friendship, this is where I go to. Oh, love, this is where I go to. Oh, pattern, this is where I go to. So we are already programmed. But it is left for you to sit down and reevaluate yourself. Reevaluation is very important, because that is the only way to become a better version of yourself. Like I said, the goal is for us to ultimately become the best versions of ourselves, because I believe that if you're living life without the aim of becoming a better version of yourself or the best version of yourself, then you're not living life at all. The only day you start living is when you make a decision to grow. If your decision is not to grow, and when I say growth, it can be, see, wholeness is not just growth in your behavior, growth in your finance, growth in your spiritual life, growth in your relationship, growth in your personal development, in the things you do, in your body, all those things are very important. Okay. Now the next thing, I know we've spoken about two things. We've spoken about spending quality time with yourself, and then balancing between self-esteem and self-criticism. Now, making sure that there's a balance between that. Now, the third thing is that identify those things that will help you to focus. Identify those things that help you to focus. Now, for some people, is meditation. Like, meditation brings you back to where you want to be. For some of us, it's prayers. For some of us, it's reading our spiritual books. For some of us, it's studying. For some of us, it's working, taking a walk, just to clear your mind, for clarity. So it can be different things. For some people, it's just doing art, okay? Because that's what they love to do. So identify what brings you clarity of purpose. Identify what helps you to stay focused, what helps you to clear your head. Very important. When you know those things that help you to clear your head, those things that when you're agitated, the moment you do them, it just calms your nerves. Identify them. Identify those things, and I can assure you, it will help you to redirect your focus. Okay? Now, the next thing you have to think about is, how fed am I? And I'll say, how fed am I? Like, what is my balance? What is my balance? I'll explain that to you. The food I eat, is it nutritious enough for my body? Are these the things I'm supposed to eat? Okay? Do I exercise my body? Is my body nourished enough? Am I eating the right things? Am I consuming the right things? Okay, very important. Am I doing the exercises that my body needs? What is my BMI? How healthy am I living? What is my relationship with those around me? What are those things that I need to work on in my relationship with those around me? With my family, my friends, my partner, my colleagues? What are those things that I need to work on? What are those relationships that I need to sever? Yeah, those relationships you need to let go. I'll talk about that, because we're going to have another episode eventually on that. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. Just like how you buy a product and there's expiry date on it, right? There's a manufacturing date and there's an expiry date on it. Excuse me. So also, in every relationship, there's a manufacturing date and there's an expiry date. Now, I'll tell you the truth. Some relationships, the expiry dates might be 3 months, some might be a year, some might be 10 years, some 20, and some till life do you apart. But you need to know when a relationship has reached its expiry date. When a relationship gets to an expiry date and you choose to hold on to it, guess what? It stinks. It becomes detrimental to you. I'll give you an example. If you take an expired drug today, what do you think will happen to you? Let's say a drug that had expired maybe like 6 months ago or a year ago, and you decide to take it. What do you think will happen to you? The repercussion is not something you want to experience, because I've experienced it. It wasn't even an expired drug. It was an expired soap I bought, and I remember I had rashes all over my body. All over my body. That's just a soap. Imagine now something that you ingested. And likewise, the same thing with relationships. So you have to look at, what are those relationships that I have to let go? Those relationships that are draining you. Yes, I understand. You love that person. You want that person in your life. But sometimes, if that person is toxic to you, if that person is not helping your life to move forward, you need to sever it. You need to let it go. I know it's not an easy decision. You've come a long way with that person. But guess what? Sometimes you just have to do what needs to be done. That's just the truth. Okay? The relationships you need to have, and then your emotions. You have to consider your emotions. Are my emotions balanced? Am I in a place where I feel I have anxiety? Am I in a place where I feel like I'm stuck all the time? Am I stuck on a particular emotion? You can't be living life and saying every day you wake up, I'm depressed, I'm depressed. There's a problem. You know one thing about depression? If you don't snap out of it, eventually it will cost you, like I said earlier in my introduction, two things are involved. It's either you're growing or dying. To be honest, it's either you are growing or dying. So you need to make a choice. So if you're stuck on being depressed every day, it's a problem. Now, am I saying that depression is not going to come on? It's normal. It will come. It will stare up. It will stare you in the face. Yeah, it will stare at you in the face. But you need to know that there's a thin line. There's a thin line between saying, I am depressed, and snapping out of it. Because there's a thin line between depression and suicide and making very wrong decisions. The consequences are very, 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 the consequences are very enormous. Like we cannot even start talking about it. And like I said, eventually we are going to dissect all of these topics. We will dissect them one after the other. Eventually, each and everything we've spoken about will become a topic eventually. And like I mentioned earlier, there are 5 things that we can do that will help us to become whole. Okay, and now the 5th one is being able to develop an attitude of gratitude. Okay, and also you begin to appreciate yourself. Now, an attitude of gratitude will help you to be grateful. It will help your mind to be focused on the positive things that are happening in your life as opposed to the negative things that are happening. And I promise you, if you start a gratitude list, I'll give you an example. Every night, I've heard about this a number of times, but a friend of mine also called my attention to it. If you've read personal development books, you will understand the importance of gratitude list. I've read books whereby some spouses, authors of the book, will say, oh, okay, there was a time I had an issue with my wife. I used to feel my wife had an issue, but I decided to write 2 things or 3 things I'm grateful to her in a day. Okay, I'm grateful for her in a day. I remember someone, I can't remember if it's my pastor that mentioned it. He did that, and then, okay, no, I think it was an author of a book that I read. He did that, and after a month, guess what? It was the wife's birthday, and he packaged that journal. Imagine writing three things about somebody you love. So you're focusing, what that means is that what they are doing that day, you're not focusing on their negativity. He focused on her positivity, the things that she has done and that he's grateful for. And he gave it to her as a birthday gift. In that book, I know he said that it was the best. She appreciated that gift more than any other thing because it just called her into remembrance of those sweet things that are about her, and it improved their relationship. It's the same thing with nature. If you are grateful for the things, now I'm a very strong believer in God, okay? And well, we all have different beliefs, but I'm a very strong believer in God. And I believe that, like my dad would always tell me, that if someone does something for you and you say thank you, it's more like you saying, do more for me. Okay? It's more like you saying, do more for me. So I give you a dress today. Now, if I give you a dress and you say thank you, I'm like, oh, this person is grateful. The next time I want to give out something, I'll be looking for someone that is grateful. Nobody wants to give out something and the person, you're the recipient, is not grateful for what you're giving them. Because you're discomforting yourself. It's a sacrifice. Giving is actually a sacrifice. So I cannot sacrifice something for you and you're not grateful for it. No. For me, I'm very big on that, to be honest. I'm very big on that. Like, I've had situations where I've given people something and they didn't say thank you. And I felt like if I had a way, I would have taken it back from them. But it also helped me to make up my mind that, you know what? If I'm to think about somebody to give something, you're not going to be the first person. Now, am I saying that I've not given those people something eventually? I did, but sometimes I correct these people, like, you should be grateful. Everybody loves a grateful heart. Everybody loves a grateful heart because then it makes you feel good for the sacrifice that you have made. You don't, it's not like you're saying you want to be worshipped. It's not like you're saying you want to be worshipped, but you just want to know that the person, the recipient, is grateful, appreciate what you have given them. So it's the same thing. If you have a gratitude list where you have the things that you're thankful for that has happened, to you in a day, you can choose to do it daily. For me, I try to do 3 things daily. Now, there are sometimes I'm not consistent with it, but I try to make sure that I do it. Okay, so you can do it. Maybe if you can try, you can say, okay, you know what, in a week I'm going to do it 4 times, because the truth about consistency is very key. And the truth is that for you to be consistent, it's about taking baby steps. So I'm not going to say, oh, say every day you're going to start doing a gratitude list. No, that's not how it works. Eventually, we're going to talk about consistency, okay? Like I mentioned, we're going to have series of episodes, a lot of topics that we're going to be dissecting into. With the little of my knowledge, with the little of things that I've learned, and based on research and things that I've experienced, I'll be able to share with you. So let's say, for instance, you're just starting. You can say, you know what, every week I'm going to write something I'm grateful for. Or twice a week I'm going to write something that I'm grateful for. What do? Make sure that you set an alarm for it. Twice a week, those 2 days, choose those 2 days that you want to write those things that you're grateful for. Okay? You can say, oh, in those 2 days, I'm just going to write only 3 things. For the twice, so that means you're writing only 6 things that you're grateful for. Now, but most importantly, pick out those days, because it's one thing to decide, but it's one thing for you to take action. Very important. So you pick out, let's say for instance, you say every Monday and every Sunday, or every Monday and every Thursday, I'm going to write the things that I'm grateful for. Three things each day. Pick out those days, set the alarm of the timing that you know is most convenient. You alone know your calendar, so you know your schedule on a daily basis. You're the one that knows those times that are always naturally free for you. Select those times, set your alarm, name it as gratitude list. Now, I'm telling you what I do, okay? So this is what I do. So I'm telling you the same thing. Once your alarm rings, you write it down. Now, am I saying that you're going to be able to do it all the time? You might not be able to meet up. Because honestly speaking, discipline is more than motivation. It's easier for me to sit down here and tell you, oh, do this. It's easier for you to say, you know what, I am fired up. I am going to go and do this. I am going to go and do that. I know that I'm going to stay consistent. It's discipline. So you have to be disciplined about it. Okay. Now, but the major point I'm trying to drive at is that if you do that, I promise you, you will see by the time you write the things you're grateful for, guess what you're doing? You're telling nature, or whatever you believe in, that you know what, give me more of these things that you have been giving me daily. And the reason why I'm saying nature or what you believe in is because, like I said, we all have different beliefs, but I'm a strong believer in God. So I know that every day I write, God, I'm thankful for this, I'm grateful for this, I'm thankful for this. It's like I'm saying, you know what, I'm so thankful for what has happened today. And if I'm saying thank you, it's like I'm saying, give me more of this thing. Because, see, if you appreciate little, more will be given unto you. More will be given unto you. It's just like the parable of the master in the Bible, where they were given seeds to sow. One was given 5 talents, one was given um, 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 2, and another was given 1. Now, in that story, we are made to understand that the one with 5 went and worked and doubled his to 10. The one with 2 went and worked and doubled it to 4. The one with 1 went and dug a hole and hid his. And he said, I know that my master is a wicked man that likes to reap where he did not sow. Now, when the master returned and called on his servants and said, you know what, okay, it's time to give a report of the talents that I've given you. Give me back the talents that I've given you. Now, talents in this sense, you can look at it as the talent, maybe you know how to sing or whatever. But in this sense, in particularly, I want us to look at it as if it was money that was given. Okay. Now, imagine the person with 5 says, oh, master, you gave me 5 and I was able to work. I doubled it. It's now 10. This is it. Now, the one with 2, oh, master, I was able to do the same thing. And the one with 1, oh, master, I know you're a wicked master that likes to reap where you did not sow. And this is your 1 talent. Now, imagine the irony. The master says, okay, this talent that you have doubled belongs to you now. So the person with 5 now has 10. The person with 2 now has 4. And guess what? The person with 1, his was taken away from him. He said, you are a wicked man. You know that I as your master, I like to reap where I did not sow. Why didn't you just multiply this for me? And guess what? It was taken from him and given to the person that had the most. Because the person that had the most showed that, you know what? I am grateful for what you have given me. So I am going to multiply it. Whether it's mine or not, I am just grateful that you trusted me to give me this talent. So I am going to multiply it. And now it applies to you and I. We have been given talents, okay? But I don't want to dissect into that I don't want to divert into that right now. Eventually we're going to talk about this. So if you've really enjoyed this session, I would like you to drop your feedback, your comments, your questions, and whatever topic you would like us to dissect on, okay? And if I'm good hands, see, now the good thing is that I promise to bring you sound knowledge, okay? It might not just be me alone. I have sound minds around me that we can also tap into their river of knowledge, okay? So that we can get to edify each other. Now, remember I said wholeness is when you're complete, okay? And if you have not gotten to the place of being complete, it becomes difficult for you to move. Now, there are some people, you see them, they have all the money in the world, but they're not just complete, they're not whole, they don't have peace of mind, okay? So wholeness helps you to move forward. It helps you to have better relationship. And let me tell you the truth of the matter, when you are at peace with yourself, it shows. When you're at peace, you just radiate positive energy to people. Energy is very contagious. People know that, you know what, this person just wishes me well. This person doesn't have bad intention. And when your energy is about wishing people well, automatically you attract the same thing for yourself. So now I'm just going to reiterate the 5 things I said you can do to become whole. Now, the first thing we spoke about is that all right, now the first thing we spoke about is that you must learn to spend quality time with yourself. Yes, appreciate your own self. Love yourself. Love yourself. When you love yourself, there's no how other people won't love you. When you can spend quality time with yourself, when you appreciate yourself, when you appreciate being alone, when you appreciate your time alone, there's no how other people will not appreciate time with you. It's not possible. Now, the second thing we spoke about is that you must also make sure that your self esteem balance is balanced by your self criticism. Yes, there should be a balance. In as much as you want to indulge yourself with the things that you do that might not be right, you should be able to criticize yourself. But as you criticize yourself, do it with love, okay? Come from a place of compassion. Learn to forgive yourself for those things that you have done, okay, that you're not supposed to have done, okay? Learn to forgive yourself of those things. And that's the only way you can move forward. It's only when you forgive yourself that other people can forgive you, okay? It's only when you forgive yourself that nature will forgive you. All right. Now, thirdly, focus on the things that, focus on those things, center on those things that will help you focus. Those things that will help you get clarity. What are those things that when you're agitated, they help you to get clarity? Spoke about working. It can be working, taking a walk, reading. It can be meditation. It can be prayers. It can be reading your holy book. Like for me, reading the Bible gives me peace of mind. So whatever it is for you, take advantage of it, okay? Then fourthly, we spoke about taking inventory of where you are. Your body, are you nourishing it in the right way? Are you eating the right things? Are you exercising your body? Okay, your mind, what are you feeding your mind? Because see, the same way you eat to feed the body is the same way the mind needs to be fed. What you feed your mind with will determine where the way you think. What you feed your mind will determine your thoughts. Okay, so it's very important that you feed your mind with the right things. What are those things that you're feeding your mind with? Are you feeding your mind with things that are positive? Are you feeding your mind with things that will help you move forward? Or you're feeding your mind on things that will help you to be negative, on things that will help you to be dying, to be regressing? What are those things you're feeding your mind? Because your mind is also a ground, is a fertile ground. Whatever you sow there has every tendency of germinating. All right. Now, your emotions, do you feel stuck on a particular emotion? As in, are you feeling depressed all the time, or you feeling happy all the time, or you're feeling down spirited, or you're feeling elevated all the time? You need to observe all those things about yourself. Okay, and your relationship with people, the relationship you need to build on, the things you need to build those relationships, what you need to do more to contribute to it, and those relationships that you need to sever. It's just life, okay? And then lastly, which happens to be the fifth, is being able to have a gratitude list, okay? And appreciate yourself. Appreciate yourself. You walked today. Oh my God, Sim, you're so bold. You're so strong. See how you delivered. Like after I finish this session, I'm just so going to be proud of myself. I'll sit down, I'll watch it again, and I'll just give myself some accolades and be like, you have taken the first step. And once you have taken those baby steps, someday it just becomes a story. So appreciate yourself for those things. Because today this is going to my gratitude list. Yeah, it is. Even the fact that somebody is going to listen to it and be blessed and be inspired and learn one thing or the other that they can do to improve their life, I'm so elated about it. So yes, these are the things that you can apply that will help you to become whole. If this blessed you, if this inspired you, please share the link with your loved ones so that they also can get that inspiration. They also can get that value that you have gotten. And like I said, if you have questions, if you have subjects that you would like us to clear on, please feel free to comment below, and I assure you that we're going to dissect them. I will take a look at them, and together the goal is for us to be the best versions of ourselves. Thank you once again. It's at this point I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for considering me worthy to be listened to. And I hope that the reason why you have considered to listen to this session, that you're going to be able to achieve it, and that you'll be able to discipline yourself to take the necessary actions, that you're going to forgive yourself, and that in all, that you will seek to be whole, so that everything in your life will be balanced, okay? So that you can move forward, so that you can radiate the right energy. All right, thank you once again. I remain your girl, Sim Babajato, or Simja as you choose to call me, or exclusive. Thank you, love you, cheers and kisses.